Cartoons, the innocent babysitter every parent loves. You plop a kid in front of SpongeBob and boom, problem solved. But here's the plot twist nobody told you. Cartoons have a history drenched in racism, sexism, propaganda, violence, and trauma. That childhood nostalgia you adore. It might be darker than the basement in Courage the Cowardly Dog. Section 1. Cartoons aren't innocent. Let's get one thing straight. Cartoons were never made for kids alone. In the early 20th century, animation was for adults first, vaudeville style, slapstick heavy, and crammed with innuendos. Fast forward, and studios figured out cartoons could babysit kids while still sneaking in messaging for grown-ups. That's why rewatching your childhood favorites as an adult often feels like decoding a conspiracy theory. Suddenly you catch the jokes, the stereotypes, and the red flags your 8-year-old brain totally missed. Section 2. Racism and stereotypes in classics. Take Disney's so-called classics. Fantasia once had a scene of a black centaur literally polishing the hooves of a white centaur, erased later, but it existed. Dumbo had singing crows modelled after black caricatures, one literally named Jim Crow. And then there's Song of the South, which was so steeped in plantation nostalgia that Disney locked it away like the family member you don't invite to Thanksgiving. Tom and Jerry. Sure, slapstick fun until you notice the black maid character written in a caricatured dialect. Warner Brothers even had an infamous set of shorts so racist they're now referred to as the Censored 11. So yeah, the golden age of animation was also a golden age of stereotypes. Be honest, did you ever rewatch an old cartoon and suddenly realize, wait, that joke was racist? Drop your aha moment in the comments. Section 3. Violence disguised as comedy. Then there's violence. Cartoons taught kids that smashing someone with an anvil is hilarious. But psychologists have warned for decades constant exposure to cartoon violence normalizes aggression. Kids don't process that Wile E. Coyote's broken bones are fake. They just learn it's funny when someone gets hurt. Studies show kids who binge violent cartoons tend to copy aggressive behavior on the playground. Punches, insults, desensitization to pain, it all blurs together. And let's be real, what parent hasn't walked in on their kid karate kicking their sibling after a Powerpuff Girls marathon? Entertainment. Sure. Behavioral training. Also yes. Section 4. The nightmare fuel episodes. Sometimes cartoons straight up traumatized kids. Remember Tiny Toon Adventures? They actually aired an episode where the characters get drunk, steal a police car, and die in a crash. That was for kids. Nickelodeon yanked it after outrage, but the damage was done. Or Gargoyles' gorgeous animation, deep story but also shockingly graphic death scenes that parents didn't expect. Even Looney Tunes had unsettling surrealism, with characters hallucinating in ways that were basically cartoons on acid. If you ever had nightmares after watching cartoons, trust me, you weren't imagining it. Quick poll: what cartoon episode scarred you for life? You know the one. Let's swap trauma stories in the comments. Section 5. Ghosts, graves, and dark origins. Cartoon characters often come from darker origins than you'd think. Casper the Friendly Ghost. Yeah, he's literally the spirit of a dead child. That tomb he lives in, it's his own. Sleep tight, kids. Even seemingly innocent shows get hijacked online. Enter the nightmare known as Elsagate, where YouTube channels churned out creepy, low-budget animations of characters like Spider-Man or Elsa in disturbing situations. Kidnappings, abuse, horror scenarios. Millions of kids stumbled across these videos disguised as family-friendly. Imagine a 4-year-old searching Frozen Elsa and getting a Nightmare Factory instead. Section 6. Adult themes hidden in children's TV. Some cartoons just never pretended to be clean. Ren and Stimpy, filled with adult jokes, grotesque body horror, and straight-up disturbing visuals. SpongeBob is packed with innuendo, sly nods parents laugh at while kids giggle cluelessly. Even Cartoon Network shows like Adventure Time and Regular Show smuggled in jokes about drugs, sex, and existential dread. And newer cartoons. Amphibia has straight-up impalements and trauma arcs. The Owl House dives into genocide and oppression. Invader Zim was practically a horror show with laugh tracks. Don't get me wrong, these shows are brilliant. But if you thought cartoons are just harmless fluff, think again. Why should you care? Because cartoons don't just entertain, they shape culture. They normalize behaviors, attitudes, and even biases. The stereotypes in 1940s cartoons didn't stay on screen, they bled into how kids saw the world. The violence wasn't just a gag, it subtly trained kids to laugh at pain. And the corporate control behind these shows still drives what's considered safe for kids to watch. Cartoons are powerful. They get a free pass under the excuse of being just for kids. But history proves they're anything but innocent. So the next time you binge old cartoons for nostalgia, remember, they weren't just shaping your childhood, they were shaping you. The dark side of cartoons isn't just about the past. It's about what we keep laughing off as harmless fun. Because sometimes the joke is really on us.